Welcome back to Mideast in Depth. David Ignatius writes an article in the Daily Star on why Iraq's Sunni community is surrendering to ISIS. Military campaigns often start slowly, and that has certainly been the case with President Barack Obama's pledge to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIS. When US officials visit tribal leaders in Amman, he cautioned that he was in listening mode while the US prepared its strategy. The US presentation was vague. Every time the Iraqis meet with the Americans, they just take notes. In an interview with the Daily Star, a 50-year-old local sheikh of a leading tribe frankly admits that his fighters have joined ex-Baathists and former military officers in siding with ISIS. Why do you blame us in Anbar for joining ISIS? The ones who went with ISIS did so because of persecution by the Shiite-led government of former Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. According to locals, the Sunni community has two options: fight against ISIS and allow Iran and its militias to rule us, or do the opposite. ISIS was able to mobilize so quickly because it had planted sleeper cells in the Sunni regions. These hidden agents are mostly under 25. They grew up in the years of the insurgency and American occupation. In its analysis and opinion section, RIA Novosti features a piece titled "Assad Better Option for Syrian Government Than Islamic State Militants." Lieutenant Colonel John A. Nagel, former president of the Center for a New American Security and Counterinsurgency expert, argues that between the two options for the long-term governance of Syria, either the Islamic State militants or President Bashar Assad, Assad is the better choice. Since the United States began operations against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria in July and August respectively, Nagel stated that the US position toward Assad at the outset of the Syrian civil war in 2011 has made it politically unrealistic for Obama to view Assad as a potential stabilizer for that country. The writer concludes saying the US is currently training and financing anti-government Syrian rebels to fight against ISIS in the Middle East. While the administration has stated that its present strategy is focused on the defeat of ISIS and not against Assad, Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel told members of the Senate in September that the US would defend its Syrian assets in the event they were attacked by the Assad government. And now we are joined by political analyst Nedal Naisseh, joining us over the phone from Syria. Welcome back on Middle East in Depth.
Good evening.
Do you think the priority of the US-led coalition in Syria and Iraq has shifted to defeating ISIS rather than President Assad? Or is this just the beginning and the next step would be combating Assad?
Good evening to everyone. First of all, I don't think that the United States is very serious in combating or fighting ISIS since the allies of the United States are the same ones who were behind ISIS, as was stated by Mr. John Biden, Vice President of Obama, or American Vice President, and as was stated also very shortly or very recently by Prince Walid bin Talal on CNN, I think, when he said that yes, we are the Saudis, we have supported ISIS and we have helped forming this terrorist group. I do think that the United States is going to the wrong target and to the wrong place in fighting terrorism. Terrorism was, in fact, made by our fabricated by U.S. closest allies like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Emirates, and Turkey. Those are the main responsible ones for terrorism in the Middle East. And if the United States was really serious, it must go elsewhere, not to Syria, nor to Iraq, to fight terrorism. I think the targets are very clear for the United States, but it's shifting from fighting the real states responsible for terrorism to other states who are really fighting terrorism. Syria has been fighting terrorism and those terrorist gangs for the last 42 months.
Okay, and many believe that Assad's government is the best option now, given the alternative would be the Islamic State. But what about the Sunnis in Syria? Do some of them prefer ISIS?
Well, I don't think that instead of the question is about Sunni or other things. And the United States is committing a very a great mistake when it's going to decide instead of the Syrian people. The Syrian people have decided a long time ago their choice in their last presidential election that they have elected overwhelmingly Mr. President as the Syrian president for the next 7 years. Excuse me. Even the refugees in Lebanon and other states in Jordan, they have voted for President Assad. Most of these refugees, and excuse me for this statement or for this word, they are the majority of them are Sunnis, and they voted for President Assad. So the question in Syria is not between sects or something sectarian fighting or sectarian war or civil war as they are going to say in the Western media.
Okay. Nedal Naisseh, political analyst, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
For more updates, please visit Levant.tv. And subscribe to Mideast In Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.